Online communication is practically inescapable with today's modern technology. Anyone can start a relationship virtually, whether it be using Slack, Microsoft Teams, or Zoom to connect with new coworkers, connecting with new teammates in an online graduate program, or even sparking up a new romantic relationship with a stranger by striking up a conversation on one of the many dating apps that the App Store has to offer. As of July 2021, there were 4.8 billion active internet users around the world. So given the prominence of computer-mediated communications and online relationships in the 21st century, this understandably leaves the question, how strong are these virtual connections? The social information processing theory that was established by Joseph Walther in 1992 sought to answer that question. Pictured here is Joseph Walther. Given the increase in computer usage around this time in the early 90s, Walther found that there was a void in social psychology research pertaining to computer-mediated connections. This theory sought to describe how people created and maintained relationships online using computer-mediated communication, CMC, without the cues that naturally occurred in traditional face-to-face conversations, like analyzing shifts in body language. Walther's theory presented a few theoretical assumptions of communication to ground his exploration and ultimate definition of the social information processing theory. This includes humans use communication to associate with one another. Secondly, people make impressions about one another based on cues as they get to know each other. This can be verbal, nonverbal, linguistic, and even textual cues. Lastly, in computer-mediated communications, like email, text, Slack messages, etc., messages and cues will take longer to process compared to traditional conversational communication. As I will discuss later, this theory and computer-mediated communications not only have implications for personal relationships, but for companies as they were adjusting to the digital era and how they connect with their consumers to effectively sell their products compared to the typical newspaper or magazine advertisements from decades before. Given his research in the field, Walther concluded that given time and the opportunity to connect, relationships between individuals can not only be formed, but they can also thrive in online environments. Other researchers have built upon Walther's theory to better understand how we successfully communicate online. For example, researchers from Kalman et al.'s study suggested that time has an important effect on the construction of online relationships. Specifically, the flow of responses when using CMC contributes to relationship building, and how quickly people reply to each other can lead to a greater sense of trust and a stronger overall connection. This aligns with Walther's original research that individuals can effectively maintain relationships using CMC, but that sense of trust may develop more slowly and partially depends on the rate at which people communicate. In a different study inspired by Walther's theory, researchers Olanaran et al. Discuss how virtual connections are formed not only through time spent connecting, but also through cultural bonds. Keeping these studies in mind, understanding the social information processing theory could be imperative for organizations. The importance of the rate of exchange and communication flow could be beneficial in implementing new company-wide strategies. For example, this theory could improve a company's customer service strategy to train representatives to prioritize attentiveness and quick responses to constituents online. This could theoretically improve a company's reputation and strengthen their connection with their consumer base. Additionally, if a company properly understands the culture that they are communicating to, this could elevate their computer-mediated marketing campaign's emotional impact and could be far more successful. Although the CMC era is similar to the days of traditional media, like newspapers and magazines, in that they are both not face-to-face communications, the social information processing theory could allow for a more personal approach to marketing and sales, rather than a one-size-fits-all magazine advertising campaign. A personalized email could have a far greater chance of selling a product than a random advertisement in a newspaper, so companies really should capitalize on those virtual connections. Understanding this theory could also be important for individuals looking to create long-term professional and personal relationships. For example, a company leader or manager could emphasize the importance of quickly responding to other teammates or other departments to improve internal company relations. If a manager ensures that their team is attentive and responsive, the strength of their team's bond could increase, even virtually, and has the potential to be much more cohesive and effective. Especially in the world that we are living in now with COVID-19, prioritizing strong computer-mediated communication, whether it be messaging over Teams, communicating over Zoom, or just email, is essential for success. Lastly, and just for fun, for someone looking to have success on one of the many dating apps out there, they should prioritize timely responses and have faith that their online connection could really be meaningful for the long term. Thank you all so much for listening to my presentation today. I certainly learned a lot when studying this theory, so I hope you learned a little something and have some more faith in the effectiveness of virtual communications.